top 5 sadistic games. There's a clear line that separates reality from fantasy, especially in the video game world. While some developers set out to try and make the next big blockbuster that can both pull your heartstrings while making your adrenaline rush, there are those that wallow in the irrational enjoyment of making something crazy. And sometimes that crazy comes back full circle and becomes something a little bit darker. So much so, in fact, that it can leave a jarring impression and get banned from countries. These games are twisted and morally gray, but surprisingly fun. And if that's what you're into, we're counting down our top 5 most sadistic games. Number 5, JFK Reloaded. Marketed as a historical simulation game, JFK Reloaded certainly ran into its share of criticism when it was first released in 2004. The game promised an accurate representation of the events that transpired, and even held a competition with a cash reward for players who most accurately recreated the assassination in attempts to prove the legitimacy of the infamous Warren Commission. JFK Reloaded puts you in the shoes of the alleged shooter Lee Harvey Oswald as you open fire on the former president of the United States. Armed with a rifle, you take cover in the Texas School Book Depository above and wait for the president's limousine to drive into view. The game itself is fairly simple since you're only given one task, but the ability to replay the scenario in a number of ways and submit high scores for a reward diminished any upstanding high ground Traffic Games claim to take. And that's why it takes number 5 on our list of sadistic games. Number 4, Carmageddon. Originally established as a PC game back in 1997, Carmageddon was known for its excessive brutality and unrelenting graphic nature. You start off by picking one of 2 race car drivers, named Max Damage and Diana, as if the name Carmageddon wasn't hilarious enough, and you take your place on the racetrack. The game quickly becomes less about racing, and more about how many people you can annihilate within the time limit. You drive around crushing and maiming, causing as much death and destruction to everything around you. The sound of already flattened bodies being run over really encompassed that squishy tone, and paired with people losing their intestines all over your windshield, made for an experience that was unlike any other. When you sped through entire football fields, city streets, and exotic waterfront locations, a counter tallied all the kills you accumulated and added it to your total score. It rewarded players for multiple kills, and taking out your fellow racers counted for more. The franchise's latest release tried to capitalize on the shock value so many gamers in the 90s felt when they first picked up their copy. It just goes to show that some things can wear out their welcome. Postal. Everything about the Postal series screams absurdity. What started as an isometric shooter, you, a psychopathic citizen who has been evicted from his house, take it upon yourself to purify the city after believing the government is contaminating the area with poison gas. By the release of the sequel, this concept quickly turned into the first-person offensive mayhem fest it's more commonly known for today. The game is borderline cartoonish in its pursuit to keep you entertained. You want to break into a police station and treat the entire force to a grenade-stuffed cat? Postal has you covered. What about urinating on a dog before assaulting everyone in a grocery store with a dildo? Let Postal be your guiding light. Even with the mass amounts of negative press surrounding the game regarding its offensive humor and oftentimes overly cruel gameplay, it didn't stop the series from gaining a cult following, or even getting a full-length feature film produced. Postal 3 changed perspectives once again and added even more tools to your insane arsenal as you continue your tale from the last game of senseless killings and having a fiendish time doing so. The Postal series comes in at number 3. Number 2, Manhunt. Picture this. You're a convict about to get the death sentence by lethal injection. The IV goes in, and you close your eyes as you slowly fade out of consciousness. Then, you awake in a new place and learn in order to stay alive, you have to kill your way to freedom. This twisted story sets up the foundation for the shocking Manhunt. Published by Rockstar Games in 2003, this psychological action thriller places you in the middle of a virtual snuff film, where stalking your enemies and performing gruesome murders nets you a higher score. Each weapon you can use offers multiple ways of finishing your would-be killers. Anything from a plastic bag to a machete can be used to disembowel, eviscerate, and flat-out massacre. And honestly, that's the best part of this game. Manhunt's story does a good job of tying everything together in making sure your grotesque actions aren't just a senseless act of violence. It gives your characters reason to kill, and just so happens to highlight those moments in staticky hand-cam fashion. There are plenty of moments that will make you twitch as you fight your way to a pretty satisfying ending. Its sequel, Manhunt 2, pushed the limits even further. With a new protagonist and more weapons, it definitely earned its mature rating to the point where the executions themselves had to be censored for American audiences. Stylized violence is Manhunt's bread and butter, and there's something about it that makes us wish a third installment would come out. Number 1. Hatred. Released in 2015, controversy was the fuel that skyrocketed Hatred to its position as one of the most disturbingly amusing games to come out in recent memory. Playing as a nameless sociopath with a penchant for unforgiving apathy, the only goal of the games, and yours, is to kill as many innocent people as you can before you yourself are taken out. Besides the voice acting, there isn't one thing about Hatred that isn't shocking. You control an impressive array of firearms, from your standard pistol to the widely destructive flamethrower, and are given the option to execute wounded civilians in sometimes jaw-dropping ways. The monochromatic scheme serves as the game's main aesthetic is highlighted with the bright fire from explosions and gallons of crimson blood that you drain from your victims as you continue on your unholy quest. While it has drawn comparisons to another game on our list, Hatred's melancholic and self-deprecating tone really sets it over the edge and makes for an experience that's part fun and part disheartening, but wholly unsettling. There's a reason that this title takes the number 1 in our list of top sadistic games. And there it is, viewers who are definitely old enough to know that these are just games. While we might not have been able to cover every game that sedates your psychopathic urges, you can let us know what games serve as your go-to when you just want to cause some mayhem. As always, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and click like. If you want to see more content from us, please click subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.